This video resource will discuss the Title I Part A Supplement Not Supplant requirement that is part of the random validation monitoring process being conducted by the Federal Program Compliance Division at the Texas Education Agency. Before we begin, we want to point out that documenting overall compliance with a program requirement may require several forms of documentation to be maintained locally and available upon request by TEA and/or an auditor. To ensure overall compliance with program requirements, LEAs should refer to the program guide and/or other program-related resources that reference the multiple forms of documentation required to be maintained locally. The documentation requested for submission during the random validation process may not include all forms of documentation that are required to be maintained locally. An LEA documents compliance with the Supplement Not Supplant requirement by having a written methodology for distributing state and local funds to its campuses, or by having a valid statement of exemption. LEAs that have been selected for this validation indicated on their current year SC 5000 schedule that they have a written methodology. For item 1.1, the LEA must submit a copy of its methodology for allocating state and local funds to its campuses. When we review the LEA's S&S methodology, we will be checking to see that it is Title I neutral. We will also be checking to see that it describes how state and local funds are allocated to campuses. We have learned from past validations that the following issues will result in the LEA receiving an improvement needed status. Auditable documentation requested was not submitted. The methodology is not Title I neutral. The methodology is unclear. Or the documentation from a prior year was submitted instead of current year documentation. The documentation for item 1.2 is required only from LEAs that have Title I S&S methodologies. We are looking for evidence that connects the state and local campus allocation amounts generated by the methodology with the actual campus budgets. Acceptable documentation would be relevant summary pages from the general ledger showing the total state and local budget amount for each campus. Issues that may result in an improvement needed status include the following. Auditable documentation requested was not submitted. Campus names and numbers and their corresponding state and local budget totals are not evident. Budget amounts not related to the methodology are submitted. Documentation from a prior year was submitted instead of current year documentation. Questions related to the random validation of the Title I Part A requirement for Supplement Not Supplant may be directed to Vivian Smurl at essasupport@tea.texas.gov.